The 2022 released horror psychological thriller flick Talk to Me, that is directed by Danny and Michael. The movie really begins with a very gripping prologue that sets the tone for the horror to come in and kick in. And we are introduced into the starting to two brothers, that is Cole and Dick Duckett, at a very chaotic house party. That is nowadays most of the teenagers do this kind of party. So Cole, that is visibly, he's panicked and is desperate to find Duckett, who has locked himself in a kind of a bedroom. And the character of Duckett here, he is in distressed state and muttering an incomprehensible words as though haunted by something unseen or something unforecasted. The tension escalates very quickly, and that is culminating in a very violent and shocking act that leaves both characters dead. This opening not only shocks the audience, but it also introduces the very kind of mysterious and sinister forces at a play that foreshadows the film's central conflict, that what is the film actually about. And this scenes really showcases that starting to be really gory, really gripping, and really we are gonna expect something big from this movie. The focus then shifts to Mia, that is a teenager struggling to cope up with loss of her mother, who died under tragic circumstances, and now she is isolated because her mother is dead, and she kind of feels uh, single or alone because the mother is not with her. So Mia finds solace in her friends, that is the Jade and Jade's younger brother Riley. This relationship becomes a very critical point as it anchors for Mia as she navigates her pain and searches for connection in a world that feels increasingly cold, alienated, and she feels really alone there. And one night, Mia and her friends, they hear the rumors about a very strange object that is a kind of a mummified hand that is supposedly allow people to communicate with the spirit. It's kind of a portal between the two worlds. As you can see, I think we have heard about it in the first time on our channel. That is it's kind of a Ouija board, if you know that it acts it acts as a medium for the person of the on the other side and the person that is present beyond this world to communicate, that is with the spirit itself. The concept is very strange, that is intriguing and very terrifying at the same time, and that is sparking that curiosity. So they decide to attend a party where this infamous hand is being used, and unknowingly stepping into a world of very danger and supernatural manipulation. At that party where the teens witness the hand's power, the rules are relatively simple and the deceptive. The user holds the hand and says, "Talk to me," and he can see a kind of spirit. And if they say, "I let you in," that means the spirit temporarily possesses their body. So it's kind of very interesting, very similar to the Ouija board kind of thing. To end the possession, the candle must be blown out within the 90 seconds. So any longer, and the consequences would be really catastrophic and very destructive. It may take over the control of the person who is doing this kind of ritual using the talk to me hand. And then Mia eagerly volunteers to try. When she holds the hand, she encounters a chilling apparition but is thrilled by the experience itself. And this time, Mia, the moment feels like an escape from her grave, a way to numb her pain and sorrow and feel something really extraordinary. And this sets her on a dangerous path as she becomes increasingly drawn on to the hand and wood dark world it opens. What begins as a very thrilling party game soon spirals out of the control. The group and the people in that group surrounding repeatedly uses the hand, pushing the boundaries and ignoring warnings about the potential risk they are told before using the game when they entered. While Riley, the youngest of the group, begs to try it, but Mia, on the other side, she is very reluctant and agrees. This decision proves very disastrous as Riley becomes possessed by a very violent and very kind of a cunning and destructive spirit, which causes him to harm himself. A very graphic and horrifying scene in which he is pulled to the one side of the room, and where his head is banged in a kind of table, and you can see the blood on the table. It's really a good scene that shows the power of the hand, and really that we should not mess with the hand itself. The group scrambles to sever the connection, but the damage is done, and Riley is left in a coma, and his fate is really uncertain. Following the incident, Mia starts experiencing a very kind of strange, disturbing visions and encounter with the spirits. And even outside the rituals, one spirit appears as her deceased mother, that is claiming her death was not a suicide, but it was as a result of very foul play or a planned murder of that kind by Mia's father. And this revelation deeply shakes Mia because she really, really loved her mother. And hearing something that is very out of the world, that her father killed her mother, is really, really out of this world and very strange to hear. And that planting seeds of doubt and anger towards her remaining parent. As Mia grows more obsessed with the hand itself, her relationship with the Jade and Riley's families deteriorate, and it begins worsen from here onwards. And Jade blames Mia for Riley's condition, and Mia's father struggles to connect with her as she becomes increasingly withdrawn. The spirit then uses Mia's grief and vulnerability to manipulate her, to kind of control her and make her and use her, and making it difficult for her to distinguish reality from the supernatural element. The spirit then convinces Mia Riley's soul is trapped in, and it's being tortured because their connection was not properly severed during the ritual that was going on at that point of time. So, desperate to make things right, Mia right now steals the hand and perform another ritual, hoping to communicate with the Riley and sort out the problem that has happened. And but instead of finding the clarity, in this time she is drawn very deeper into the spirit's deception. That is, it's experiencing terrifying vision that further destabilizes her. Mia became convinced that the only way to save Riley is to end suffering by taking his life. This belief drives her to kidnap Riley from a hospital where he is having rest because he is, not feeling well. As we have seen, he is hit himself and so he is in the coma state, setting up the film's climatic sequence. Mia takes Riley to a very isolated location, prepared to kill him in what she believes is an act of mercy of kind to end the ritual. And however, her plan is interrupted by Jade, who arrives just in time to stop her. And a struggle ensues, forcing the Mia to confront the devastating reality of her actions. And her guilt and her life reach a breaking point, or the top-notch point, where she realizes that the extent to which spirits have manipulated her, and the kind of haunting ending in this movie, which in the final finale, the final moments, Mia runs into an oncoming traffic that is resulting in her death, and the scene is very ambiguous. Was that an accident, or did Mia intentionally take her life to escape her torment? The ambiguity leaves viewers pondering the natures of Mia's fate and the choice that led to her. The film's final scene then shifts to Mia's perspective, where she finds herself in a very unfamiliar place that is surrounded by strangers that hold the embalmed hand. Then they speak the very similar word that we have mentioned at the start of this film. That is the procedure to continue the ritual or start the ritual. That is Vinay to say, "Talk to me." So that revealing that the Mia has become one of the spirits that is trapped in the cycle of this possession and the torment. And the chilling twist leaves the audience with a sense of dread and finality that emphasizes the very dangers of meddling with the forces beyond comprehension. That is something out of this world, and it should not be the thing that we should mess with. In the film's very final scene, the perspective we really see is from the Mia's side. She finds her in a very unfamiliar and dark space, wandering in the confusion. She sees her father, Jade, and Riley, but they are distinct and as if part of another reality. The disorienting moment signals that Mia is no longer among the living because she is dead right now, a kind of soul or the spirit has become. And suddenly she notices a very group of strangers holding the embalmed hand and speaking the very familiar words, "Talk to me." In that instant, Mia realizes she has become one of the trapped spirits, and her presence is now a part of the cycle that she once indulged in, and forever at the mercy of those who dare to use the hand, and she is kind of trapped in this cycle. The ending is really, you can see that, packed with a kind of symbolism, and that really leaves the viewer in shock. And there are various kind of several interpretation to this ending. Throughout the film, we can see that Mia's unsolved grief over her mother's death and her feeling of guilt about the Riley's position creates a mental vulnerability that the spirit exploit. And by the end, Mia can no longer discern reality from the spirit's manipulation. So her death really, really signifies the ultimate price of her obsession with the supernatural, and her inability to process her trauma in a very healthy kind of way. The embalmed hand serves as a metaphor for addiction, and the allure for the escapism. because it's like a key or a door to escape right here from this reality. And much like a drug, the hand offers a very fleeting thrill, a very adrenaline rushing ride. So that comes with a very devastating consequences and aftermaths. Mia's transformation into a spirit reflects the cyclical nature of this addiction, and those who seek the hand power, those who underestimate this hand's power, or maybe take it as a lightly or some kind of joke or some kind of games, this hand's power becomes a part of a very sinister legacy that can lead to a very disastrous result. From the beginning itself, the spirit lied to Mia and they convinces her that the Riley's soul is in danger and even fabricate details about her mother's death to isolate her. And the ending really reinforces that these entities feed on human vulnerabilities and turning their victim into pawns and ultimately trapping them on a never ending cycle of torment, and they just get trapped in and there is no way out of that. Even if you are trapped in this kind of cycle, it's really hard to get out of it. An alternate interpretation we may seek here is that the Mia's death was a form of a redemption. By staking, by stepping into the path of the car, she saves Riley, breaking the spirit's hold on him. And however, this comes at the cost of her own life because she has to die to sacrifice herself to save the Riley from the possession itself. So this act was a conscious decision or another manipulation that remains intentionally unclear, because maybe she is in the still in the control of the spirit, or maybe it was her conscious decision to save the Riley. And I stick on decision number two. Maybe that she is conscious and to save her from save Riley. So maybe she has sacrificed herself. The final twist of Mia becoming one of the spirits raised important question about how the hand works, and the rule of the ritual imply that the spirit's connection can only be severed by blowing out the candle at the last, as we have mentioned before. That is a 90 minutes interval time. But Mia's repeated use of the hand combined with her death and binds her permanently to the other side, that the hand acts as a portal, a kind of medium, and those who tamper it with too much risk become part of the dark world it represents. One of the most important part of the movie, if you really watch the movie closely, is the first question that arises in our mind is that the mystery behind the hand's origin, because there is no any kind of theory given to how it is originated or from where it is came. So the mystery adds the hand's very ominous allure, and the nature of the mystery leaves the viewer wondering about its true nature. With the result cannot really be drawn out because there is no clarity given to the viewers, so where the hand's origin is, so it really remains a kind of mystery. Second number thing that come in my mind after watching that was a major plot regarding her mother's death. And at first she believed it was intentional, and then her father reveals evidence proving that it was kind of suicide. So the spirit really uses the vulnerability to manipulate Mia and deepening her emotional turmoil. So at this point of time, the spirit really uses Mia for his or her own gain. So we can really see the power of the spirit right here. The theme of the movie really packed, and it shows that spirit has so much power and control over the human person or the human mind, that it can do anything. Yeah, it can do anything at any point of time. There is no boundary, there is no limitation to that. Third thing was the Riley's possession, and that leaves him in a coma and gravely injured. We have seen that he is severely injured in that scene, but he ultimately survives, and his recovery, however, comes at the expense of Mia's life and sanity, because she has sacrificed herself in the last scene of the movie, as we have seen and discussed before. And the final twist that reveals that she was trapped in a kind of the loop that we have already mentioned. The final twist reveals that Mia has become one of the spirits, that she was trapped by the hand. And this final conclusion ties back to the film's themes of addiction and the dangers of meddling with the supernatural things that are present in our nature. And the one thing that is the takeaway from this movie that very little people do notice is that the thing that when they were sitting in a group and they were all chaotic and having party loud, at that point of time the idea came in to use that hand to communicate with the spirit, but she was reluctant at first sight. I mean, but with the group of the people, and when you are in the group of that people and you really got a mix with each other, have communication, so it's kind of peer pressure. When one person is doing, another person is doing that. It's same, it goes same if you are having, if there is a group of the four person in which three person are consuming alcohol or smoking or having kind of any other addiction, and the one person is left behind. So due to peer pressure kind of thing, so we just pushed into it, not intentionally, not deliberately, but kind of forcefully, because three of them were doing so. So this movie really point out the point of the peer pressure that was very important. That is what the one of the main thing that will stick to me forever about the peer pressure thing. About the movie was really really great. Some scenes just felt very good about especially the scenes revolving Mia, Riley, and the character of the Jed. They really feel good, and the actor who played the Mia was really really good. I think she really nailed the role of the character, and it was really really good movie. It was having a very good cinematography and airy visuals and very good writing, I may say. Uh, it was not having a kind of typical jump scare, and it was a kind of really horror thriller movie you would expect to be. It has a very innovative kind of premise and very strong performance by each and every cast of the member, and it has a kind of thematic depth if you look at it, and that makes it stand out in the horror genre. And the obvious that the kind of strange ending ensures that the film lingers in the mind of the audience for a very long time after the credit even rolls. So I think it's a must watch film, and it really deserves a very good theatrical run. It was really really great movie, and it served both as a cautionary tale and a very gentle reminder of the dangers of letting a kind of unresolved emotion dictate our action at any point of time. This isn't just another kind of supernatural flick you would see around that lacks depth, emotion, and kind of poor writing, but it's a very raw kind of film, very emotional film, and very terrifying at the same time. And that really shakens when you see the movie itself, and it really blends the concept of classic horror with the dead, because it's a horror movie and the thrill element is really really good with a fresh and kind of a modern twist. One of the main key point that stand out for me was its simplicity. The hands act as a kind of a gateway to the spirit world, but the rules are very strict and unforgiving. So the tension comes from not only having these supernatural scares, but from the character's reckless curiosity, because the character feel like us if we were in the place of that. Maybe we will also think that we should try that, or having some kind of adrenaline thrill right there, because the thrill element in this movie is just on the top notch. It can't be beaten. Sophie Wilde as Mia really delivers a very standout performance. She portrays all kind of emotion and add a very kind of depth to her character, because she is in grief, loneliness, and kind of having a very vulnerability because her mother is dead. So she is very kind of alone in that, and she really nailed the character very good. The possession scenes are very intense too, and they are very graphical too. Not that much gore in this film, but yeah, in two or three places you can see that. One is the scene where the Mia attacks the possessed man, so and the Riley is hitting himself when he's possessed by spirits. So there are three scenes where you can feel a kind of graphic element right there that is involving gore and the blood, but not much really. And it was incredibly well executed, because it was not much needed, as the plot of the movie really not demand that much. So they feel visceral and raw. The pacing was really, really neat. It was really tight with no wasted moments. And every scene we see there, right, it builds the tension and the transition between the what is the real world, what is happening around us, and what is the supernatural or the other side of the world that exists beyond. The director really handles the emotion bits with a kind of very care that you can see on the screen, and ensuring that the film never loses the sight of its human core, that what the film is really really about. And it's really really a standout film, and it's not without its flaws. It has some flaws, but needless to say, overall the film is really really good, and it it's a decent one-time watchable film. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.